Hello everybody and welcome to week 2 of Fall 2017. I have to apologise a little bit this week. I'm a little bit ill, my voice is a little bit croaky and not all with it, but I'll do my best here. And there will be some sniffling from the cold. Anyway, last time the video worked pretty well. There wasn't any issues with YouTube for a change, so we'll be continuing with that format until else happens. This week there is a pickup, so we'll go over that as well at the beginning, and then we'll hop into the ones you are expecting. So the pickup for the week is URAHARA, which is actually a quite an unique show in what it does, because I first of all, I was mostly attracted from the art style. It's very different from what you have these days. It's not like precise, it's kind of a rough style, so really enjoyed that. It was quite unique. And then the characters, while before they get their whole powers thing, it's pretty bland, pretty meh, but they get the powers from a talking shrimp, and and then they protect the city in episode 2, which I've watched up to. You get the dome around the city as they try to protect it. And then the whole episode pretty much goes into about the dome, how they nothing can get in and nothing can get out, and how they created it. I say that, but then halfway through that episode, some scoopers come in and they have to defeat them with all their powers, and there's that one who keeps going, "I can't shoot," and it's slightly annoying, but I'm hoping that stops. Yeah, the story was actually pretty interesting. It was better than Black Clover. That's all I'm saying. I was going to compare everything to that, and it's always better. But yeah, the characters were really interesting. Definitely the one with I haven't learned the names yet. The one with the tablet, which has all the energy readings. It works as a bit of Deus Ex Machina sort of thing, but it leads the story along. I think it would be a bit too slow paced if you had to do it without that, so I'm actually glad they have that in there. And it was pretty good. It seems to be more about the characters than the combat, so if you go for the combat, certainly not for you, but I like my story based progression ones, so I hope to see more of that in the future ones. I think it's something other people should give a shot as well. I know it's not too well received, but I think people have been a bit too harsh on it. So we started this week with Black Clover, which was, for some reason, a backstory episode. Like, why? It's episode 2. I don't care about anybody yet. I don't care about their past. I don't care about why they're like this. I just didn't enjoy it because I didn't care about anybody, and it's just way too early for it. There's been like no character progression, no real reason to go over this story. If they did it later on, it might have had a bit more impact, but right now it just felt useless and kind of boring. Definitely for something so early on, and that it's been like 7 minutes recapping before even the opener, so very not good. I dropped this down to a 3 after watching it, and if it doesn't do well next episode, I am just completely dropping it. It's not fun for me, and I really hope it improves next week, but I do not have my hopes, and I know there's a lot of people who are like me. Also, it has 51 episodes apparently. I am not standing through 51 episodes of this. I'm not watching this for an entire year. No way. Not this way. Anyway, on to the next. And up next we have Juuni Taisen, which once again shows its superiority to Black Clover, actually having interesting characters, not spending far too long on their backstories, and actually making me interested in what's going to happen. So, this week it was, we followed the chicken and the wolf, or dog. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was a wolf. Oh, no, it's dog. It's one of the two. Anyway, so followed we got a brief, not very much backstory in either of those characters, but we got to learn about their motives. The wolf was very wanting to get an early advantage because a lot of people separate. I didn't realise they were having the entire town last episode, so they got a lot more space and makes it much more interesting because they're not going to be so close together. And then he teams up with the chicken, and then they go off and try and kill the bunny dude because she knows what's going on because she has the power to see through the birds in the area, which is quite a powerful ability, to be honest. So they do that. Well, they try to do that, and when the boar, who's under the bunny's control, gets separated, they go to try and kill her, but the wolf tries to give power to the chicken, and then she ends up killing him, which was lovely, because I am rooting for the chicken. Personally, I know there's a lot of people go for the monkey, but I did not like the monkey. I don't like this pacifism. I want to see people die. So, overall good episode. Oh, and we also saw the monkey with, I don't know, I've forgotten this character because I wasn't very interested, to be honest. But they were both going for the pacifism route and trying to hide in the sewers, which was pretty boring, let's be real. But yeah, it was actually quite a good episode. I enjoyed the whole chicken and wolf thing. And it was quite a good episode, so I bumped that up to 8, I think. On to the next. And up next is Kino Tabi. Basically in this one he went to a country after the, I believe, king's wife told him to go there and then he entered the Colosseum fight. He basically took down all the fighters without really much effort. He even forced all of them to yield and didn't kill a single one of them. And then during the end fight against one using a katana, he quote unquote accidentally kills the king, but I did on purpose, of course, hence the quotation marks. And it wasn't really that interesting. It wasn't the worst episode ever of anything I've ever seen. It just wasn't really that enjoyable. I much enjoyed last week's episode, which was much more of an interesting scenario to me, where this one it just felt like I didn't know why he was doing anything that he did. I don't know why he went there to kill the king. I don't care why any of the other fighters were there. I just didn't care. And it was good for the last 5 minutes with the talking dog, and that's pretty much about it. It kind of wasn't that good. I feel like it needed to maybe be a second episode to make me care about the characters in a way. That's all I can really say. I just didn't care about any of them, so it wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been. But other than that, it was alright, but it could have been better. Alright, so next we move on to Ousama Game, and the general consensus is that it sucks. I didn't think it was the worst thing I have ever seen. I feel like a lot of people are blowing out way out of proportion. It's not the worst writing I've ever seen in an anime, or worst animation, or worst anything I've seen. It's just mediocre. Certainly could have been better. You got the whole bad writing with this girl who doesn't want to have sex and then she instantly switches over. The backstory, I feel like the backstory did kind of needed to be transitioned a bit better. It wasn't the worst because he did say everybody listen to me and then went into the story, so I kind of grabbed on a bit fast. I feel like people were blowing that part out of proportion because people were like, where did that flashback come from? And I was like, no, it was pretty obvious it was a flashback within the first 3 seconds when they were back in the classroom with different sets of students. It didn't even look like the same school. So I feel like people were just a bit silly on that and trying to find issues that aren't actually there. The writing is not the best, definitely with the whole girl scene at the end, and all that jazz. But it wasn't the worst. The backstory was actually sort of interesting, but I feel like they maybe spent too long on it. But I didn't think it was the worst episode. I don't think it was the worst anime. I think Black Clover's was. Oh look, we're back to that again. So yeah, not the worst, not the best either. That's pretty much gonna do it for this week. I hope everything I said was at least somewhat useful. I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted to because I was ill. I just didn't have enough time either as well. So I'm sorry I didn't cover some of them I missed. Off the back of my head, I know I missed Just Because. Also missed a Sake. Actually, no, I did watch a Sake. I just didn't bother to say anything because it's basically just 3 minutes. And I don't think I'm going to bother for future ones either. And I'm missing one more, Daisere. I know that one. Yeah, it does well. And I didn't get a chance to see that. So, those next week, I'll cover 2 episodes for those each instead of just the one for that week. Please do forgive me for that. And I hope to see you next time.